So should the American public be worried about a potential presidential health scare, or was this just a breach of presidential health protocol and nothing more? Mike Purdy is a presidential historian and author of 101 Presidential Insults. He joins me via Skype. Mike, thanks for being here.
My pleasure.
So is President Trump's private trip to the doctor this weekend a first in modern times? It would seem that the protocol is for Trump or any president to detail such a visit on their public schedule.
Well, I think you're right. It is more the protocol that something like that would be announced, as has happened with Trump's last two physicals. And those have been on his schedule. It's announced. This was unannounced. He said he went for routine lab work, which can actually be done from the White House at the White House clinic. So given the history of this White House and misleading statements that they've made, it does cast some doubt upon the truthfulness of whether this was just the first part of a physical or whether there's something more serious going on. I mean, we do have to remember that Trump is the oldest president ever elected to a first term at 73 years old. And when you get into your 70s, things start to happen to your body.
And Mike, take a step back for me. Explain why the president's health, any president's health, is such a public concern.
Well, it's obviously a huge concern, not only to American citizens, but to the world. After Dwight Eisenhower suffered a heart attack, there was a huge drop in the stock market. So people want to be assured that there is stability in the government. And but if Trump went just for a purely routine physical, fine. But there is a history of presidents covering up health issues in the past as well.
Is this sort of like the president's tax returns where, he's not going to give it to us and then display it for the world to see in terms of his health status?
Yeah, I mean, we've not seen a lot of details on President Trump and his health, just like the health tax returns, like you said. But we've had some things in the past, going back to the late 1890s when Grover Cleveland was president. He had cancer in his mouth, and he secretly went away on the presidential boat. And on the boat, they performed surgery to remove the tumor from his mouth. And that wasn't revealed to the public until 24 years later, when one of the doctors who had operated on Cleveland told the story of what had happened. So we've got stories like that. We've got Franklin Roosevelt, of course, who had polio, and most Americans didn't know that FDR couldn't walk. He made it look like he could walk. He wore heavy steel braces. He would always grip the arms of either his son or an aide. And one of the things FDR did, to cover up all of that is he had this huge grin and smile, even though he was in excruciating pain while doing it.
Interesting. Well, we'll probably have to just watch and see how President Trump acts and looks in the days ahead. But so far, it seems so good. At least you base it on his activity on Twitter. Mike Purdy, thank you for joining me here on Stateside.